Next speaker is Lisa Gibson. She's from Transition Bridgetown in southwest WA. Okay, Lisa, we can see your face. Over to you.
Hi. First of all, the cultural custodians of the land are the Pibbleman and Wadandi peoples, and I believe there's been quite a violent history historically in this town. There was a massacre, so we actually don't have any Indigenous people living in the area, and it's quite difficult to do the cultural work that's involved in progressing that. So we haven't pushed it too far. But we are building relationships. So we also have a very white Anglo-Saxon Protestant town, and it has always been very conservative. So they're some of the issues that we faced. So now we'll get on to more about our community. We're 3 hours. Can you see this next slide?
I see just the cover slide.
Okay, so we should be on to the next one now. Hold on. Just trying to work that out. No, that one?
Yep.
Go back one, yeah, okay.
Yep.
So we're located 3 hours south of Perth. We have a strong agricultural industry and identity. 15 minutes away from us, we actually have the largest lithium mine in the world, which is expanding quickly and not to everyone's liking. There's an increasing focus on gourmet produce and rural tourism. It's a very picturesque area. We have a growing population of lifestylers and retirees, a very dynamic and cultural scene. And we're also one of the few, I think, 37 hotspots in the world when it comes to biodiversity of both plant and wildlife species. We also, the picture there shows you the timber mills. This traditionally has been a timber town, and we've just been in about a 10-year battle with the government to actually close that down. And as of the end of this year, that will close down, although we have to remember that mining leases will take priority. And of course, as I said, the mine is growing very quickly and taking everything out in its path. The next slide is our objectives. So I've actually highlighted these few words on this slide because we're in the process of doing a 5-year strategic plan at the moment. And one of the reasons is because some of the terminology is a bit outdated, like sustainable practices. And I think we need to focus on being a bit tighter with our language and also not quite so lengthy because it just goes on a bit too much. And we need to attract a younger group of people to help us. We also need more people on our steering group. Having said that, we've been doing quite well. So moving on to the next slide. Strategizing. So based on the community, we've obviously had to look at how we can achieve the most for the least amount of input. And we've done that by way of community development sessions within the town. We've had a number of them. We've only been going for 3 years. And basically, in the end, we worked out that we had to have a top-down approach as well as a bottom-up approach because we really needed to influence policy at a state level and at a local level in order to be able to improve the situation for many. So, for example, we needed to identify potential leaders, organisers, activists and agitators to get them to act, belong and commit. We needed to encourage and support the right people to seek local election and to get onto some of the Shire advisory boards. We're also having to inspire, encourage and support the community to make the necessary changes. We had to develop relationships with media, seek out more training and upskilling opportunities for volunteers, identify mentors within the community, and it was very important for us to build some relationships in the creative industries, because they can obviously get messages across much easier than we can. And we needed to learn how to celebrate the wins as well as be guided by the losses. And that involved a lot of listening and a lot of the community development work. So moving on to the next one. Where we've been really successful is in our collaboration. Hold on a second. I think I've missed something. Okay, we'll just stick with this one. So our most popular forums, so I guess before I say our most popular forums, what we have done really well is that we've met with the community regularly, right throughout. We only closed down for about 2 weeks in Western Australia, certainly in the southwest. So we were able to meet with people monthly, and we either had forums or open space sessions. And what we discovered was the ones that were attended the most were the ones that were fairly political and where people wanted big changes. So we had a Vote Compass session, and that's the program that you're looking at there. We had all the hopeful ministers and members that wanted to gain seats in the Western Australian Parliament, and certainly we had at least 2 from every party down here, and we put on with the candidate open space, but we actually went to them with a series of questions which we'd come from the community. We had a big Power to People Energy Forum, so all of these events had close to 100 people, and that was the maximum that we were allowed to have. So they were all filled to capacity during COVID, and it showed us fairly clearly what people were interested in.
Lisa,
yeah,
you have a minute and 10 seconds.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, so we'll just go down to focusing on collaborating. The other strength we've had is, the next one here, is that because we're only 5 on the steering group, we've had to collaborate a lot, but we have been able to develop an umbrella group, which we're calling B, which is the Blackwood Events for the Earth group, and all of the other community groups that have some sort of regenerative focus are working underneath that now. So we should be able to get more funding. We should be able to achieve much bigger things because we're actually a not-for-profit group ourselves and we're not incorporated either. And that's probably about it. You can see most of the groups on that screen there. And our next focus is, the last thing I think that we can do is, oh yes, ideas that our community have run with. So from the events we've had, we've been able to form all of the groups that are on your screen there, and most of them are running now without any assistance from us. Although most of us are probably involved in at least one of them or 2 of them to help out at least until we get them strong. And our next event, which is the last thing I want to show you quickly, is the result of all of those groups working together. And we're about to put on our first ever Regenerative Fest. And this year will just be a taster to see how much interest we get from the community. But that's coming up next month. And of course, what you can see next to that is the ideas that we have that we'll focus on in the next 12 months. And that's me. Thank you very much for listening.